Welcome back to the 90 More Podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. Brighton have beaten Manchester United 3-1 at the Old Trafford. It's really bad. It is really bad. A few positives for Manchester United, very many positives for Brighton. But like I said in the preview, Brighton were going to win this game 3-2 in my opinion. Both teams to score. It has happened. But Man United, is it really that bad? Is it really that bad? Brighton have looked very, very well in this game. I think they came well prepared. The way Zabi actually set up that team with Pascal Gross and Mahmoud Daoud in the midfield, he knew he was going to govern the game, and they have absolutely done that. Horrific scenes at the Old Trafford. Man United fans, talk to me in the comment box below. What is going wrong? Is it Erik ten Hag? Is it the players? Is it just a bad start, just like last campaign? Will it get better? Are Man United really top 4 contenders now? Because you look at all the other teams around the top 4. You look at all the other teams that are trying to challenge. Tottenham Hotspur coming back to win later on in the game. Manchester City coming back from behind to beat West Ham as well. I mean, there's a lot of quality around Manchester United and their competitors. And Man United don't really look like a side that is ready to compete with Man City, Liverpool, and all these other clubs. Actually, I think Man City and Liverpool have gone down today, and they've all come back from behind to win 3-1. That is the quality that you want in your side. That is the quality that you want if you're going to be a top 4 challenger, a UCL challenger, or even just a team that wants to flourish and win silverware. Now, you look at the statistics in this game, and I think Man United fans will be very, very disappointed in this one. Man United had very many shots on goal, 14, but Brighton had more shots on target. They had 10 shots, but they had 8 on target. That means that the accuracy for Brighton in this game was going to be key, and it is one of the things they've actually used to beat Manchester United this evening. Possession-wise, like I said during the preview, Brighton always look to be on the ball. Brighton always look to be, possessing, passing the ball around. And they had 659, touches in this game, 50% ball possession. Man United, 488 touches, only 43% ball possession. So, like I said in the preview, they always love to be on the ball. Brighton under Zabi, that is their key facet. You have to disorganize them. You can't allow them pass the ball easily. You cannot give them, the ball through sloppy passes. And that is what Manchester United have absolutely done. And for me, the first question is going to go to Erik ten Hag as manager. You are manager of Manchester United, and you've played Brighton 2 times last campaign. The big question is, how have you not learned what Brighton do? How have you not learned how to approach a team like Brighton? If they have 53% ball possession, 57% ball possession, that literally means that is their initial game plan. When the moment you see Pascal Gross, the moment you see Mahmoud Daoud in midfield, it literally means that they're not here to play the ball over the top. They're not here to attack you as a direct team. They want to slowly build up and have that kind of possession. And they've actually done it. And it was so easy. It was so easy for Brighton. I cannot lie. I was impressed by Marcus Rashford. I was impressed by Rasmus Højlund. But those are the only 2 players at Man United in this Manchester United side that have actually impressed me in this game. There is no any other player. So I think the weakness in this game for Man United, and we're going to talk about how to better Manchester United courtesy of this result. The key weakness has been the pressing. Your PPDA is very, very small, right? It's unbelievable. You cannot allow Brighton to have 10 touches, 15 touches before you actually engage them. The moment Brighton are on the ball, you expect Manchester United's players, Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes, to actually be right on top of them, to be pressing them, to be, hunting them down. It was not happening. It's not what we saw in this game. And it's either a mentality issue, because we cannot keep on saying that the players are not good enough. Erik ten Hag has actually brought in a few players. Now, I like the fact that he started with Scott McTominay in this game. So, because literally it meant that if you have McTominay, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and Christian Eriksen, you had numbers in midfield. You had players in midfield, and therefore you are ready to match Brighton's midfield numbers, right? So you didn't expect those overloads for Brighton in midfield. You didn't expect those overloads from Brighton's to dominate the ball, especially in the middle area of the park. Now, I don't understand where it went wrong. He played with as many midfielders as he should have played with. And the truth is, if you're Erik ten Hag, you're looking at your team and you're like, these are the right tactics I have employed in this game. These are the right players I've actually selected, right? We have to stop Brighton from dominating the midfield. We have to stop Brighton from running up and down. But Pascal Gross, what a performance. What a player they have in there. He's scored now 7 career goals against Man United. And you look at the Pascal Gross goal. You look at the João Pedro goal. It's too easy. It's too easy. That Manchester United midfield was non-existent. Absolutely shambolic, right? Absolutely shambolic. And if you're Man United fan, as you go into the Bayern Munich game, you've got to be very afraid. You've got to be afraid. You've got to be, you've got to fear, but then you've got to worry as well. You've got to really, really worry. If you're walking away from the pitch 78 minutes as you are at home, as you play Brighton, what happens when you go to the Allianz Arena? Do you walk away in 10 minutes? Because Bayern have got the ability to rip you apart. They've got the ability to destroy you, to blow you away out of proportion. What's going to happen? So Erik ten Hag has a couple of questions to answer courtesy of this performance. So let's talk about the 2 positives before we get into all the negatives, because it's a lot. And we'll talk about Brighton in a second. The 2 positives is Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Hojlund. And I think with Rasmus Hojlund, they've got a striker who is energetic, a willing runner, and I think someone who will score for them goals, crucial goals. If you're a Man United fan, Rasmus Hojlund should have been your second best player or best player in ranking. I look at the goal he scored. That is a typical number 9 finish, and I loved it, right? Yes, it was. It had that a little bit of an element of the ball coming out of play. But Rasmus Hojlund stands in the penalty area. Man United have not had a player that actually loves to do that. Stands in the penalty area, waits for that cutback from Marcus Rashford. At the moment he gets it, he knows where to put it. He's already scanned the environment. He's already done his environmental scan, and he knows it comes back. I'm going to place it in the far corner, and it's just an easy tap, and it's a goal. Unlucky for him, very, very unlucky for him not to actually, get that goal. But that is a positive. The things we've seen from Rasmus Hojlund, Marshall cannot give you that. There's no question about that. And even a striker like Val Vegost, who we saw last campaign as an Erik ten Hag boy, an Erik ten Hag system player, couldn't give you that. The amount of relentless pressing, the amount of relentless runs, the unselfishness. How many balls did Rasmus Hojlund play into Marcus Rashford? So the selfishness, the ability to connect the team, the ability to just drop from that centre forward position and then drop into midfield. Man United fans, they will love him. You're going to love Rasmus Hojlund, and he's going to be a key player for Erik ten Hag. Because if you're going to play the ball over the top, if you're always going to be looking to, create spaces for Marcus Rashford and Garnacho to run into, then Rasmus Hojlund is going to be a key player. As he drifts inside, Rashford will be Manchester United's highest player, and he was Manchester United's highest player today. And I thought he had a good performance in the first half. But Rasmus Hojlund, a big positive. Man United fans, you are lucky to have him. But then second positive for me today is Marcus Rashford. So, against Arsenal, Marcus Rashford really had an impact. But not the kind of impact I expected, and not the kind of impact I want him to have in games. I want him to be Man United's farthest forward player. But then I want him to be that kind of player that receives the most amount of passes forward. And that is what we've seen today. Casemiro, Rasmus Hojlund, Christian Eriksen as well. They were all trying to play that ball into Marcus Rashford. And what in the end we have seen is a Marcus Rashford having multiple shots on target, having a couple of chances created, and also having a very, very good game. I would say the second half was uninspiring. And I would say Marcus Rashford, if he wants to compete with the best and the best of the best, there are 2 things he's got to do. One, he needs to work on his consistency. So if you're in the same bracket as Erling Haaland, if you're in the same bracket as Kylian Mbappe, if you want to be in the same bracket as Vinicius Jr., you've got to impact games every single minute, every single second. A brilliant first half, and he just disappeared in the second half. You cannot do that. You can't be doing that. The team needs you in both halves. The team needs you to always be on your best, at your best, right? But Marcus Rashford, another positive, very good performance. Man United fans will actually feel that they have seen a part of the Marcus Rashford we saw last campaign after the World Cup international break. Running, full of life, wants to shoot, a little bit selfish in some scenarios. In the second half, there was that ball that Rasmus Hojlund plays into him, and Rasmus Hojlund is actually arriving in the penalty area and is screaming for it. It's just like, put it there. I'm going to tap it in, and Rashford goes for the wrong choice, which is pumping it, absolutely powering it, and he doesn't get a corner from that, I think, and he doesn't get a goal from that or anything from that. So if his decision making becomes better, if he can work on that, if he can also work on the fact that he's going to be Man United's best player, therefore his consistency has to be up in the air, I think he will influence games. He will actually influence games for Manchester United, right? So the negatives for me: United, it was too easy. That is the key negative. Yes, there were injuries. Yes, Man United had players that were suspended. Yes, Jadon Sancho has problems, but it was too easy for Brighton. It was very easy. That Joao Pedro goal, Tyron Lamptey's pass without any pressure, it shouldn't happen. Joao Pedro's placing in the corner without any pressure, that shouldn't happen. The same thing with the Pascal Gross. Yes, I think what I love about the Pascal Gross actually is the dummy, right? Because he just commits into shooting that ball, and therefore Lisandro Martinez commits into the block, and Gross pulls out of it, and Lisandro Martinez cannot pull out of it. And the moment the ball just, it kind of flows like a river onto the right foot of Pascal Gross, and he absolutely places that well. He really, really does. But let's talk about Brighton. Brighton in this game, absolutely magnificent. 10 shots on goal, 8 on target. What we've talked about Brighton before on this channel, if you're one of the people that have started following the channel, we've talked about Brighton wasting chances. We've talked about the brilliance of Brighton in both penalty areas, but their exquisite, beauty in the opposition penalty area, in the opposition box. 8 shots on target. 8 shots on target. Like, how many teams, even if it's Liverpool, even if it's what, I think the only team this weekend so far that has had more shots on target than Brighton should be Tottenham Hotspur against Sheffield United. So with Brighton, I think they're amazing. They're purely amazing. You look at that starting 11. Mahmoud Dawood and Pascal Gross against McTominay, Casemiro, and Christian Eriksen, and they overpowered the midfield. They absolutely overpowered the midfield. But you've got to put this into perspective. Tyron Lamptey is not an everyday starter for these guys. I think Adingra as well is not, replaces Solly Match, right? And Karim Mitoma doesn't have the best of his, actually has one of the worst games so far in the Premier League. And they looked that good. Danny Welbeck, oh my God. In the first half, Danny Welbeck gave problems to Manchester United. Really, really, gave them problems. I think his movement is not something a player like Lisandro Martinez and Victor Lindelof are actually accustomed to. With Lisandro Martinez, he loves a player who can, he loves a 1v1. He will beat you at that. And he loves a crazy tackle. But with Danny Welbeck, you've got to track his movements. Otherwise, you can't defend against him, and that's where the biggest problems have come from for Manchester United. The players playing forward for Brighton are not static, so they're always exchanging that role. The system is fluid, and the system is very, very fluent. You've either got to do zonal marking, which I don't think Manchester United did very well today, or you've got to go man-to-man. And that means that if you go man-to-man, they will pull you out of place. And when they pull you out of your position, then that means that someone will be arriving in that position. It was beautiful. It is beautiful for Brighton. It is really beautiful from De Zerbi. The key takeaways for De Zerbi is he needs to start understanding the dynamics of the Premier League. So the way Brighton start the season and how they fall off and then end well. If you can understand the dynamics of the league, that it is a marathon. You've got to keep up the consistency. You've got to keep up the good football. They're going to be a very, very difficult side. But then we've also seen Ansu Fati. We've seen Adingra having a very good game. We've seen Tariq Lamptey having a very good game. And, the options they have, it's crazy. Like, they have Estupiñán is injured for a very long time. It's a knee injury. But they don't even look like they miss him. They don't even look like they're about to lose a game. They don't feel like, it doesn't seem like Caicedo is gone. It doesn't seem like McAllister is gone. That's the beauty and that's the danger with Brighton. I loved them. I really, really did. I thought they would score 3. They didn't disappoint me. They should have scored more, in my opinion. Someone was screaming in the studio, should have been a goal. So it should have been 4. But in the end, Brighton 3, Man United 1. Man United, the problems are escalating, and there's now more pressure on the shoulders of Erik ten Hag. How does he deal with this? In my opinion, calm down, get your team together, and prepare for the next game. It's Bayern Munich, I think, away in the Champions League. If Man United can just settle down, pick up at least 3 points in that one, it could be a season starter. It could be. It just could be a morale booster. I'll speak to you right in the next one. Man United have lost at the Old Trafford.